True with Guns America, have you ever wanted to own a subcompact, a compact, and a full size, but only have one gun? Check this out. All right, so this is the Archon Firearms Type B, and this is the Gen 2 version. So if you haven't seen this before, I'm gonna run you through kind of what we have going on here and tell you about my experience shooting this. The key feature is you see this beaver tail, you see how close that is up here to the slide, and let me lock the slide back. You see how like high my hand is up here under the slide. That is sort of unprecedented in firearms. I mean, that is really, really tight. And having the slide ride that close over your hand, I didn't get any slide bite due to this beaver tail. Now, the other thing to mention here is this barrel sits super, super low in the slide. So it's barely sitting above your hand. And this does not use a traditional Browning barrel tilt system like almost every other pistol in existence uses. If you notice when this is locked back, the barrel is completely straight. It does not move up and down and tilt at all. In fact, what it does is it's called the AF speed lock system. And while there's been some sort of similar designs like 90 plus years ago, this is a patented design that is unlike anything else out there. Once again, it's called the AF speed lock. So if you watch, as this slide comes back, the barrel actually moves with it about 1/4 of an inch right before it stops. So you see it move? That right there is what we're talking about, and that's the AF speed lock system. And so because the barrel isn't tilting and it stays completely in line, it means that your ammo has a straighter shot in. The magazines actually sit higher up in here, and it's a pretty straight shot out of the magazine and into the barrel. And as a result, you get more reliability, more accuracy, less movement in your hand, faster follow-up shots, and man, is this pistol fast. So I literally just put like 500 or 600 rounds just through this pistol just right before we started talking. And I have to say I'm completely impressed. And there are some other things in here that I want to tell you about and we'll pull apart and show you. So not only did we test this with the standard 4.3-inch barrel, we dropped a threaded barrel in and actually stuck a couple hundred rounds through this suppressed without incident. It ran perfectly. I have not had a malfunction of any kind with this pistol at all. And I shot a plethora of cheap, like Winchester white box, Herder's 115s, some old Freedom munition stuff that wasn't that great even when it was new, Federal 115s. I mean, we shot the gamut of stuff through this. And this also has to be one of the most accurate pistols out of the box we've ever shot as well. So check this barrel out though. So this is what the barrel looks like. And as you can see, there's hardly any ramp here going into the chamber. And that's partly because the barrel doesn't have to tip, the magazine sits higher, and essentially it's almost like a straight shot in out of the magazine for the cartridge. So it's not having to come up and then do this. And as a result, you get better accuracy, flatter shooting, just impressive. Now, I've seen a few reviews where people just rave about the trigger that is in this Archon Type B. And look, I don't mind it. It's not a bad trigger. It's a little mushy to me. So it's got all the safeties that you would expect in a polymer gun. The first hinge here, it won't even allow the trigger to pull unless you're unhinge it or unless you've moved through that first part. As you move into the second part, it actually moves a horizontal sear. And I'll pull this apart and show you, but it's a horizontal sear which keeps everything tighter and flatter right above your hand. And that horizontal sear removes out the firing pin safety out of the way. So this is completely drop safe. So anyway, it's a little mushy, but you get sort of to a wall and then it's actually not bad. And it's not super heavy. And to be completely honest with you, it has improved substantially since I first got it. So 500 or 600 rounds through it and the trigger has gotten quite a bit smoother and lighter. And if we had measured this at the beginning, which I wish I would have, I believe that we would have gotten a completely different trigger pull out of this than we're going to get right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just test this trigger out and just see how many pounds it is. But I feel like it feels less than what it actually is. So so that broke at 4 pounds 12 ounces. Let's do one more we're back to 0. So that was 4 pounds 12 ounces. I'm going to add the pressure smoothly. And that broke at 5 pounds 1.5 ounces. Let's do one more just for an average. And look, it's hard to keep this in the exact same spot on the face of the trigger here. and obviously a little lower would get me a little bit lighter trigger press. Okay, so that was just over 5 again. All right, so that's really not bad. And let's see, the average here is 5 pounds, 3.5 ounces is what the average on 3 trigger pulls was. So it has definitely gotten better since we looked at it. Now, let's just start at the beginning here. It's a 4.3-inch nitrided barrel that comes with it stock. You can get a threaded barrel for it, so you can run a comp or a suppressor. We'll talk more about the comp idea in a minute. The sights that come on this thing are awesome stock. It has a red fiber, it's a steel front sight with a red fiber optic and serrated rear sight. I would run these sights in competition if I was running irons. We're running a red dot because you can go faster, so that's how that is. It has the front serrations, it has rear serrations. It's got this cutout, which makes it the Type B. I believe it's called the Type D, does not have this if you don't like it, but it makes it really easy to rack it by sticking your thumb over it. In fact, I did a couple of drills where we started on a table, unloaded, and had to load a mag, rack it, and shoot it, and the gun just freaking performed. This is technically in the compact setup right now. It comes from in the box ready to go in 3 different versions. So in the subcompact version, it would be a 12 round mag, which actually doesn't even work because it's not set up that way. So it doesn't fit in there because it's too short. That's the subcompact. The compact is a 15+1 round version. That's what the gun is set up for right now. So similar to a Glock 19. And then there's a version where you add another spacer and a different back strap. There's 4 different back straps with this gun, different sizes, and they're slightly different shapes. But you add those, and then a 17+1 round mag fits in here. So you can see there's a spot there with a spacer, and it works without that. And I have fairly big hands, and you can see that this works for me just fine in the compact version. That's how I shot it, is I left it that way. Love the beaver tail. If you notice, there's this little indent in the beaver tail right in here. And the idea with that is it's supposed to be a tendon activator. I don't really know if I believe this works. I'm told that you can just Dremel this out if you don't want it, and then you'd get even higher. But it didn't bother me. I thought maybe it would be uncomfortable. It did not bother me. What it's supposed to do is having that little wedge push into the middle of the web of your hand is supposed to make your hand come together, is the idea. An engineer came up with this. You know, engineers come up with all sorts of ideas. Not all of them are good. I'm not saying it's bad. It actually might work. It didn't bother me. I didn't really notice it. But the gun recoils so flat that I don't even know that it's necessary. So anyway, that's the idea though. It's supposed to be a tendon activator that makes your hand sort of come in around the gun. Pretty interesting. The mag release button is fully reversible. So right now it's set up for right-handed shooter, but you can pop it out, switch it over, and have it be on the other side of the gun. The ejection port up here on the slide, I actually prefer this now that I've had a few guns with this. So as you can see, it's not a full open one. I had no issues with ejection, but this is like 600-700 rounds in on the C&H Precision Red Dot, and there is no crap on the dot. It is clean. So I completely credit that with the ejection pattern and ejection port on this Archon Type B. So that is a huge move. I think that's fantastic. I love it. We've got undercuts under the trigger guard here. It's really nice that way. There's a pick rail here, and we stuck a Streamlight TLR1 on here and actually ran it in this black point holster. So that's another thing. People are always skeptical of guns. They're like, well, are there holsters available? And yes, the answer is yes. Here is an outside the waistband by Black Point and a Streamlight TLR1. This is also a Black Point holster that I actually used concealed, and this is quite comfortable, and it's really pretty fast to draw from. I want to say that some of my faster times are well under a second for drawing and hitting a target at 10 yards. So I use this appendix, but once again, the Black Point, this one isn't set up for light, but I can show you it is set up for the threaded barrel though, if you want to run it with a threaded barrel, either way. But pretty good holster setup there. So there are holsters available for this. Oh, the sights, the pattern, these use Glock sights. So as you know, Glock's one of the more popular pistols out there, and any sight that works in a Glock is going to work in this dovetail and up here for this front sight. But man, the front sights are actually phenomenal right now. As far as the recoil system that's in this, so this is pretty unique, and I'll tear this apart and show you later, but this has a 3 phase recoil spring in it. So you've seen 2-phase before. This has a 3-phase, and the idea is that it will actually keep tension all the way through the cycle so that you don't have an area where the spring gets weak. And yet it's not hard to rack. It feels nothing but smooth, but I'll pull that out and show that to you in a second. So I think we've covered pretty much everything. The slide release is only on the left side of the gun. It breaks down by locking it open. You push this button out, pop the pin, it pulls out this side and it stays retained. You drop the slide, pull the trigger, and the slide comes off is how you take this apart. I have heard people talk about it on Reddit and on forums that you can run CZ75 mags in this. So while you might get them to actually snap in, they don't come up high enough, and as a result, they may or may not work. So it is not recommended that you use CZ75 mags. I mean, they're in all 9 mags, and they do fit in here, but it's not what the gun was designed for. These mags are designed to stick that round up here higher so it's in line with this barrel. Speaking of inline, once again, just check out that beaver tail and how high you can get your hand. The height over bore on this is less than ½ an inch, which is pretty phenomenal. Also on the Type 2 Gen 2, all of this texture that comes on here can be peeled off, and you can replace it with sort of like a decal sticker that you can get from Archon. They even make this like the real sand like competition skateboard stuff, and it sticks right onto these panels if you want something more aggressive. I actually liked what this came with just fine. I didn't have any problem running this hard and fast, and it's hot out here, slippery, sweaty. No issue whatsoever with the texture on this. I like it. This probably, I mean, look, I haven't compared it to every pistol I've ever shot, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say that straight out of the box, stock, just shooting it, running it hard, that this is probably the flattest shooting pistol I've ever shot. It's not the best trigger out of the box. It's a good trigger. It's decent. I have no complaints about it. It's not bad at all. It's not the best. It's good though. But as far as recoil, I'm not sure that it wouldn't outperform other guns that have compensators, just with no compensator. Like, it shoots that flat. Watch the slow motion, watch how fast these splits are that I'm shooting, and I'm able to just watch the dot stay on the target. I mean, these aren't just, hey, how fast can True pull the trigger? I'm actually seeing the dot and I'm hitting the target. So that tells you a lot right there. I mean, this is, I think you could be competitive with this in competition, like in 3-gun or USPSA or something. Like I think that this is, shoots that flat and that fast. My one complaint, if I was just gonna sit here and nitpick this and tell you what I don't like, is I don't like the grip angle. So here's the deal. This costs more than a Glock 17 does, or a Glock 19. And yet I feel like they took the thing I don't like about Glock, which is the grip angle, and all the Glock fanboys are gonna bag on me for this, and don't get me wrong, I have 4 or 5 Glocks. I like them, they're very reliable. I actually shot a charging bear with a Glock 20 one time at like 6 feet. I know how to shoot a Glock, but I don't love the grip angle. I'm a huge 2011 fan, huge 1911 fan, and that's the grip angle that I wish that most pistols had, just because it's what I like. And this has a little different grip angle. It's closer to a Glock. Now, I don't know if it's exactly the same as a Glock, but it's closer to one. And if I haven't been dry firing or been shooting this at all when I first present, it means that I have to break the gun down just a little bit. Otherwise, the dot is way up here, or the front sight comes in high. So, and I have to drop it in order for it to drop down. Now, if you watch, I can still run it pretty well. I have a lot of rounds on pistols, including Glocks, and it only takes me a couple minutes to be like, oh, it requires me dropping this down just a little further, and you know, and it presents. But if I'm to nitpick, I wish that in this pack of back straps that they had one that changed the angle so that it's the same as a 1911, the way that John Moses Browning intended pistols to point, right? So that's just my personal gripe. If that's the only one I can honestly come up with, though, I really can't think of anything else. There's sort of a flared mag well here that actually makes reloads relatively fast and easy. Loading off the table, man, it was fast, and yet this doesn't stick out. It's still easy to conceal, but it does have sort of a funnel shape going on there. So I want to show you a couple things really quickly with this broken down. The first one is the horizontal sear. So as you can see, as the trigger gets pulled, that sear is horizontal, and it just keeps things higher and tighter in your hand. So I assume you can see that moving there. I'm going to put an empty mag in, and I want you to see how high that bullet would sit on that magazine. And that's how low the barrel is sitting. I mean, it really doesn't have, you can see that little amount of ramp right there, and then it goes right into the barrel. So that barrel sits super low on this action. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's pretty impressive how low they got that barrel to sit. In fact, it's got to be one of the lowest, besides like that $5,000 Luego Alien. Let's look at the slide here for just a second. So this is that 3-stage progressive recoil spring. And then this is the locking block here that's part of that AF system. And that moves up and down, but I'll pull it out and show you. But there's 3 springs here. So it's a progressive recoil spring, 3 stages. If we pull it out, you can kind of see here what we have going on, and it really works. Pretty unique. It's a little different than what we normally see in a handgun. So once that's out, we can pop this out, and this is part of the action system here, and it only goes in one way, so it's not possible to stick it in backwards, which is nice. So if I try to stick it in the back way, it doesn't fit. But then when we pop this barrel out, you can see once again that feed ramp, how this thing locks up. And actually, let's put this back in, and I'm just going to show you it move here. So it moves this way, it does not tilt out. So it literally just does that, about 1/4 inch is all it does, and then the slide does the rest. And then this is the breech face. Let me pull this out here so you can see. There's the breech face and extractor. And I don't even see an ejector, which is amazing. So I don't know how that works exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's not a traditional ejector in there, so I'm guessing that extractor just must tip it out. I don't know. That's really interesting, actually. So let's put this barrel back in. I'm curious now. That extractor fits into the barrel there, but yeah, there's no traditional ejector that I see there. It's kind of crazy, actually. Yeah, let us know what you guys think about this. I'm impressed. If this had a regular 1911 grip, I would probably be selling every other polymer gun I own for this gun, because I think it shoots that flat. I think they did that good of a job on it. One other thing I wanted to mention about the AF speed lock system, which is this action, this barrel moving just a little bit. This is actually patented by Archon, and this pistol is actually made in the Czech Republic right now. That's not where it was originally designed. They do have a presence in Las Vegas. That's where the US sort of distributorship setup is for this Archon Type B. So there is service, parts, magazines, different barrels available. And it's my understanding that this pistol is also available in a flat dark earth version. It also ships in this bag, which I think is pretty cool. It's got Velcro all over it. It's got mag holders in here, different pouches, different zippers that are taped up. It looks like we got some sort of a shoulder strap or something there. Maybe this can be set up as a fanny pack, I don't know, but it's a nice little bag that it comes in. Here's the point. Otherwise, it comes with all the accessories to make it a subcompact, compact, full size, and the magazines to do that with. Tell us what you think in the comments. I think it's a cool pistol. Let us know what you think if you would try an Archon Type B Gen 2 9mm pistol.